Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast, Breath Hub at Work, where we talk about how Breath Hub, breath coaching, breath work, breathing practices can help you at work. And now we have a lovely guest. Welcome, Lucy.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Would you start by introducing yourself, please?
Yeah, of course. So my name's Lucy Eden, and I am the founder of a company called Be In Your Element, and we are a wellbeing events company that put together experiences, programs, workshops, sessions, anything and everything really. We've got what I call our wellbeing warriors, which are a tribe of incredibly talented, holistic individuals and practitioners in their field, from breathwork practitioners to yoga, astrology, numerology, anything and everything. We've got nearly 80 now, so we've got quite a wide offering for our clients. So yeah, that's me. Lovely to meet you all.
Yeah, lovely. And I will, of course, go ahead and ask you, what are the results you're getting, especially with breathwork practices?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've done any case studies, but if you have.
Yeah, no, great question. And actually fresh in my mind, because it only happened last week, which is a great one to start with, was the NHS. We did an event for them last week and the week before. So we did 2 teams in different locations, and that predominantly was a session that was all about grounding and building resilience, and it had breath work, meditation, mindfulness, and just discussions to kind of get the team talking about how they relax, how they switch off, who do they talk to, their support service. And I think there's a lot to be said with discussions, but then it's really lovely where there's an educational piece with the breath work, for instance, and just taking a few moments to really be in the now. And there was one gentleman that wasn't particularly open to the experience, and that's fine, because everybody comes in from, you know, at different levels and at different ways that they want to maybe experience it. And he openly said this, his words, not me speaking ill of him, but he said, I was a bit skeptical when I came in here. And we were like, okay. And we'd given him 3 minutes of breath work and meditation at the end. And he said, I put my watch on. He had like a Garmin, I think they call it, like the all singing, all dancing kind of fitness watch. And he had his heartbeat, I think, was in the 60s or something like that. And then after 3 minutes of this breath work and mindfulness meditation, it had gone down to 42. And for him, that was then, you know, he was a bit of a believer. And his words again was, I'm going to take this back to my team, because I can now really see the results of just a couple of minutes of, you know, just breath work, calming down, and all of that. That's really good for us. And we just sometimes forget it in this very fast-paced world that we live in. So that was one that was quite recent, yeah. But we've got lots of positive case studies that show the same type of results. So it's excellent to see.
Yeah. So what has been the biggest demand around what you're doing?
In terms of the sessions that we offer?
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because we've obviously got national and international recognised days, you know, mental health awareness coming up, stress awareness month, etc. So I feel like whenever there's those opportunities where companies are really striving to raise awareness, there's almost a bit of a wave of what maybe is cool for the now. So like last year, it was very much breath work and yoga and movement. But this year it was, and we're doing quite a lot for next week, for the next 2 weeks, it's sleep. So learning more about how important sleep is and getting a good night's sleep, and gut health. Because I feel like last year it was on a nutritional basis, but now there's a real understanding of how, you know, our gut speaks to our mind, and it's all interconnected, and we really need to understand how to get a healthy gut to in turn help us, you know, reap the rewards of having a nutritional balanced diet.
Yeah. So when you look at employees, and you probably know more about their needs than anyone else, what do you think their deepest needs are right now in the world? Or in just England, you know?
Well, I mean, I think if you're looking at employees, the main thing is to feel valued. Because I feel like with well-being, it can be such a buzzword, and there could be a lot of people talking about it and maybe doing a light touch of things, which is great, because I feel I'm a great believer in a light touch is better than no touch at all. So I'm not saying that you need to go kind of hell for leather for a big kind of scheme or something, but I feel like with the employees, they need to feel valued. They need to actually feel like they are being looked after, because in turn, with feeling valued, you're going to show up more. You're going to want to show up more. You're going to be passionate about what you're doing, because obviously that employer is believing in you and investing in you and trying to get the best out of your health and well-being. So I feel like that's number one, really, feeling valued and listen. And in turn, to feel valued, you need to listen. You need to ask questions to actually formulate any type of well-being strategy or support that's going to be right for your team, for those individuals, not something that's a pick up and a put down from something else, from some other audience. So I feel the key thing is feeling valued, and in turn listening and implementing to ensure that it's for that audience.
Yeah, great. So having said that, do you also offer programs to employees individually, or is it just groups? Like how do you support that individuality?
Yeah, both.
Especially in the workplace.
We do both. It's really important to me. When I started this business, you've obviously got big corporations and they've got, bigger understanding, bigger budgets. But then you've got small companies, startup companies, people. I was at an event the other week, the Water Cooler, which is all about well-being in the workplace, which is fantastic. And a couple of people coming up to me and they just didn't want to, they were just like, oh, you don't want to talk to us. We've only got 5 members in our team. And I was like, no, I do want to talk to you, because it's still important to come up with solutions and experiences for even just one person in your team. So yeah, I'm really passionate about it being for everybody. It doesn't matter how many people are in the organisation. Everybody needs their well-being and their mental health looked after.
Yeah, sure. And I think doing assessments individually,
yes,
and analyzing, like on our side, I've been working on analyzing breathing habits, because I'm an authority in breathing sciences field. So my concern has been the fact that people are breathing differently, like fingerprints. All of us have different breathing habits, and one breathwork technique doesn't work for all. A technique that relaxes someone might be stressing them out, because we all have different breathing habits. Like, I just finished a certification program here in London today, actually. And at the end of the program, we had some people come over for a 2-hour breathwork workshop, not breathwork, but breath coaching workshop. And we saw that each of them were different breathing differently. So if I was to teach one breathwork technique to all the group, we would probably have a lot of problems, because, for example, one individual was breathing too much in the belly, and then the other had a reverse breathing habit. The other was breathing unbalanced. The other had a performance breathing habit. So they all needed different tools and different breathing techniques. And we were able to analyze all of them one by one. And the reason why I asked you the question is because I think in wellness space, and wellness and health space, we sometimes forget that people are individuals. They have different stories, and I agree, like listening to them, listening to their story. And I've been teaching for a long time the fact that we need to listen to people's breathing stories, because their breathing habits started when they were teenagers or when they were children, and they have a history. And dysfunctional breathing habits have motivation. So it's really it's important to understand why people are motivated to do unhealthy things, of course, in their breathing habits, and also for us in their thinking habits. And then going from there, like listening to their stories, where they are, their past, even their ancestors, their mothers and fathers, because the whole, thinking and behavioral habits are, have a root, have a past, even in the family, so it's really amazing to see how we are evolving, and also interesting to see how much work that needs to be done. Like, as an expert, as a scientist, there's still a lot of work to be done. I see that we're still on some shallow level.
Yeah.
Because it needs like a deep assessment and deep analysis with each person. So having said that, how does the companies and the maybe NHS as well, like the associations, the corporates, see individuality? Like, do they kind of ask you to force individual help, or do they? So my question is on an expertise level, being someone who wants to help people, do they see it kind of like okay, we need wellness, we need mental health, let's do something about it, or are they truly really really interested in helping people? Because I think that makes the whole difference.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, and there's lots of points to that, because I think to your point where you were talking about individuals breathing very differently and having a very bespoke experience and knowing how to breathe for them, that enhances power as well, right, for you as an individual. So I'm all for that, 100% for that individuality and making something that, like with breathwork, and movement. If we all know how best to breathe and eat and move for our bodies, that's an absolute inner power and strength and wisdom to make us, show up better every day for ourselves, for our family, for our workplace. So there's huge credibility in that. And then I think on the other side of the coin, there's a huge credibility and need for the teamwork, the camaraderie, the bringing together, the connectivity, something that was completely lost in lockdown. And it's still fragmented where we're in a very hybrid way of working. So to your question, I feel like the companies are trying to do both, and they're trying to do both as best as they can. And you're looking at the likes of organizations that have been doing this for quite some time, and their strategies are amazing. And things like in their contracts, even they've got elements saying, when you go on holiday, it's a digital detox. So you're actually writing, you're committing onto a piece of paper. They're saying to you as an organization, and this is the most key part, is that it has to be from the top down. I feel like with organizations, when they say something but they don't do it, it's never going to sit. Because, for example, the digital detox, if your CEO or MD, whoever it is above you, is saying totally switch off, but then they go away to the Bahamas and they're getting back to their emails, and then you're just thinking, oh my God, if they're doing, I need to do it. Although it says that in my contract, I feel an obligation, like I should be doing this. So it has to be from the top down, which is imperative. And I feel like those stages of organizations that have got, strategies in place, and they relook at them and they're looking at their ROIs, and there's actually, analytics and everything going on there. That's fantastic. But then there's other people that are just getting on the stepping block. And I feel, to your point, it's really important to have an individual care, but I feel like whatever block you're on, just keep going. So it might be that people at the first instance, for budget or for not really the full awareness of how they can put strategies together, they're putting wellness, team building activities together. They're quarterly doing something that's with well-being in mind. They're inviting in well-being Wednesdays in the office, mindful Monday morning meetings. They're doing feel good Fridays. They're giving their company an hour back at the end of every Friday to do whatever they want to do. I think all of that is great. And that, again, is an individual thing, because you're kind of saying to yourself, your organization, right, you've got your idea of a happy hour, because we like to suggest this to our clients, is, and what's that happy hour to you? So Friday, you all log off at 4 o'clock. Is that walking the dog? Is that going to spend time with the kids? Is that going to a yoga class? Is that doing a HIIT class? Like, whatever that is for you. But then it's good to have it like on an internal comms, like communication, because I feel like if you're going to give back to everybody individually like that, you need to kind of pull them all together to be, on some sort of teams or whatever it might be, sharing what they got up to, sharing pictures. Here's me walking the dog, or here's me in the park with the kids. And I feel like in turn, you're looking after them in their individual needs and what that is for them. You're learning what that is as well. So you can collate all of that, so that when you come to do something as a team, that you've got half of your audience that like to, take a few deep breaths and spend time in nature. And then maybe you've got another segment that like to, do hard hitting exercise. And then you might have another lot that just want to sit and watch a movie. And I feel like to that degree, people can then, start to do their building blocks and kind of almost come at it from both angles. Depends where everybody's on their journey, to be honest. So it's a bit of a long-winded answer, but I feel from my experience.
Yeah, lovely. Yeah, you're bringing individuality, individual choices, and ideas and everything. And of course, it needs a lot of awareness for people to decide, on what they want, or truly, really, understand what they want. So I think our job is also to build this awareness. So what would you like to say to companies, business owners, or organizations that want to help their employees or the group they're working with to on wellness and health?
I think I guess to repeat what I've kind of said, in the sense that it doesn't matter where you are in your journey, start the journey. Or if you haven't started, start. There's no wrong step, there's no wrong turn, I don't believe. If you're fully passionate about doing it with the well-being, mental health, physical health, spiritual health, all encompassing for your employees, you're on the right track already. And I feel like if you're coming out somewhere into the journey, and maybe you're looking for further engagement or you're looking for more direction, there's just so much out there now. Like I say, I attended an event the other day, and it was a convention, a corporate event with just literally well-being all under one roof. That's been unheard of. You obviously go to conferences and there might be a health and well-being section, but we've come on so much now that there is all under one roof, a lot of service providers out there to help you. So I feel, with applications like yourself, as well as, physically going in and helping in the workplace like ourselves, we do workshops and things as well. Virtually, you can do everything now like this. I feel like there's no excuses for not starting or not progressing. So I would just say either make a start or keep going.
Yeah, I know. Also, you also said like some companies are adopting wellness days or at the end of the week. If I ask you something like, as a case study, which has been more, like, what's more effective according to your opinion? Like, is it bringing wellness into the office, creating times for, breath work, meditation, mindfulness, or is it maybe leading people into, I don't know, retreats in the weekend, or, to be digital free, or, what do you think? Which of them works best?
I mean, that's a great question. I honestly do think all of them serve their purpose and serve their place. But I think for me, consistency obviously is key. So I think if you are doing something, it would be good to have a consistent awareness of well-being in the workplace, or what does well-being mean to you, or your idea of a happy hour. I think rather than it just be one Friday of the month when it's Stress Awareness Month, it needs to be, every other Friday, or it needs to be every Friday. I think there just needs to be a consistent care there for sure. Retreats and things like that are really immersive, and I feel like there's a sense of, when we do our events, I feel like all of it works, I really do, but there's something very different to people committing and, getting in a car or getting on a train and actually going to a destination and fully immersing themselves into something. But that's, of course, for maybe, like leadership, and where you want to get these people together all under one roof and give back to them. Because like I say, it has to start from the top down. So I feel like there has to almost be the yin to the yang, where you've got leadership, which are getting all of the education and they're getting all of the opportunities to really put things into place, to then ensure that filters down, right, okay, what's our strategy now to ensure that our employees are valued, well looked after. In this day and age, we obviously all work differently. We've all got commitments, whether that's family or other jobs, anything like that. And I feel like the one thing that's come out of lockdown, which has been so good, is this understanding of you can still work from home. People can go pick up their kids from school, or people can go walk the dog in their lunch break. So I feel like that's something that's changed, and I feel that there's a positive approach to that, because again, these things need to be in place with consistent care, so that you can see the results, you can see the rewards, you can see the change. So I feel like, again, if people just more implementation of things, 5 years time, I feel like we would have come a much longer way than we are now.
Yeah, exactly. Consistency is the key, because you then build up. It's not just a one-time experience. And yeah, I fully agree with everything you say, like retreats and taking time off a couple of days. That's great for companies, team, leadership, and also implementing it in your daily life. I remember a time many years ago, I worked with a company, and a global company, where we led them into breathwork sessions 2 days a week. Mm-hmm. And the results we got from that, like constantly, a group of people were joining the workshops each week, and the results we got with them was just, amazing. We can't even get those, we couldn't even get those results with 2 days, 3 days retreats, or even like weekly retreats when you do it every day.
Yeah.
Because it's all about bringing that into our everyday lives, and building the habit of even thinking about your wellness, just stopping and like, am I well right now? Even being aware of how you're feeling, where you are physically, because with the understanding of we need ourselves first, and that has been like one of my main goals, to help people understand that you have yourself and you are responsible for your own well-being. If we can teach everyone just that they are responsible for their own well-being, and it's important than anything else, because they need themselves, for whatever goals, the other goals they might have.
Yeah.
And I find it very valuable.
Oh, sorry to talk over you, but it's a bit like, on an airplane, isn't it? You would always put your mask on first and then help others. Even if you've got a small child, you have to do that because you need to survive to help them. And I feel like there is that essence with, health and well-being, but we let it slide. We're a nation where we look after others first and not so much ourselves. And I also think, because I do talk about, we have a cup of positivity, we call it. It's all a bit cheesy, and it's not original, I know, but I love it. And we have a cup of positivity as one of our packages that we offer, and it's just in the afternoon when there's a bit of a lull with a conference, we can kind of raise those vibrations and get everybody through. But with that, I always say, you can't pour from an empty cup. We've probably all heard that. But I actually go a little bit further, and I feel like you have to have an overflowing cup from your well-being, however you do that in the morning or in your lunch break, but you need to be overflowing, because actually through most of your day, chunks or sips are taken out of your cup, and if you're not overflowing, you're going to be on empty pretty damn quick. So I feel like you almost need to mentally get yourself to that place, rather than just at the brink of survive, and almost go into the overflow so that you can thrive. When all of those little things that just happen every day that are unforeseen, on top of the everyday things that are asked of you, you can handle it better. Your armor is, on a bit stronger, and you can just, you can look after your mental, your physical, and your spiritual health.
Yes, exactly. Lovely. Thank you. You're also an amazing leader, I think. So thank you very much for everything you shared with us. Is there one last thing you want to say as a message to all of our listeners and people who are watching us on YouTube right now?
I guess just to say a bit like yourself, and with the Breath Hub, take every day as it comes. I think my main message is to be kind to yourself, because I think from an individual, we're talking about organizations and workplace here, but if you're somebody in the workplace that's trying to think of a strategy, if you're just somebody in the workplace that's struggling, or even in your everyday life, take a few deep breaths and just be kind to yourself. Rome wasn't built in a day. I feel like we just need to so much is asked of us. We live in such a fast-paced world. As humans, we're not built this way. How we're operating every day is unhumane, really. But we're doing the best we can. And I think you just need to take every day, be kind to yourself, take a few deep breaths, and look after yourself and be well. Yeah,
I love what you said, unhumane. Yeah, it's exactly that. Like, we're in a performing world, so we need to really understand that, and to just take time to stop.
Yeah, absolutely. Take time. I went for a run this morning, and I needed to do that because I like to kind of get up and do stuff, and I really wanted to do that, so that was fine. But I also, part of my run, I stop and I walk and I take the headphones out and I listen to nature and I hug a tree. I literally do put my hands on the tree and I just take a few deep breaths, and I need that. That was good for me because it's grounding. I've done exercise and I've got, my mind set, but it's the yin to the yang. And I think that's the other thing. We need to look at ourselves as being like the seasons, and we just lean into what we need at that time. And I feel like we just need to be more intuitive to what feels right to us. This is very much an individual part, but I think if we can also look after ourselves, then it can help us look after others, like we were saying.
Yeah, thank you very much. Let's keep on teaching people to look after themselves. Thank you very much, Lucy.
Thank you so much.
You're very inspiring. Thank you.
Very much. As are you. Thank you.
And I'd love to meet you in person in the very near future, hopefully.
Yes, let's make that happen. That would be lovely.
Yeah. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone watching. See you next week. Bye.